Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Division 2 Round 2. We are at Suzuka Circuit. That's right, Japan's jewel of motorsport, built in 1962 by Honda. It's one of the few tracks in the world that's figured like a figure eight. And it's also one of the most technical layouts in racing history. This 5.8 kilometre full course is a true driver's track, fast flowing and brutally unforgiving. So, let's see how they lined up in Division 2. As we look at the qualifying times now, Madrick in first with a 2:02.1, followed by Go Home You Drunk, Filthy Little Secret in third. Then we've got Gixxer in fourth place, followed by Scuba in fifth, Trenzalord in sixth place. Then we've got Sam the Man in seventh, followed by Zappo in eighth place. Not a lot in it between the top eight. It's getting pretty interesting as we continue down through the grid. We've got Osto 101 in ninth, followed by Aussie F1. Wes Snipe taking 11th, and Flacker 17 in that GTR Nismo, rounding out our grid. This is going to be a really exciting race. Qualifying times all the way from first to second, relatively close. So we'll see what happens in this 50-minute enduro. Remember, the drivers must use mediums and softs, but the tyre choice is open. So let's get excited as we're about to go green light racing. A huge shout out to our sponsors, So What Electrical, who are bringing us the telemetry now for round 2. As we see Mazda getting off the line quite well in that car. Oh, look, hang on. We've had a bit of a false start from the cars behind. Now we've seen a bit of jumping around. So the car's going to be very grouped into turn 1. As we go down through the field, we've got Gary in a bit of a battle. He's just run up the back of SRT Vroom. We've seen another car off to the side there. It looked like the Lambo with a Chazzy Mossett livery. He's just pushed it a bit wide. Gary succeeding that point now to Zappo. And Osto chasing him down. A lot of action in the first couple of corners there. All right, as we continue, Snipes now right on the back of Osto, followed very closely by Corner Slut, who had that false start at the start. So he's dropped from, I think it was about 4th place to 9th. Not the ideal start for him, but he's going to have to battle hard to make his way up through the field. Mozzie, one of the new entries here in Div 2, making his way around the outside. Look at this group of 4. 2 wide, 3 wide. Oh, and as we see, Snipes go wide. Okay, Mozzie and Vroom, a little bit of rubbing in the corner. It's all good though. They've made it through. This is getting exciting already. We're at turn like 4 or 5 now on lap 1. A lot of racing to go. It's a 50-minute enduro, boys. It's not a shootout. Okay, Flacker in 11th, making a huge move. He's made 2 positions. He's going for 3. He's just got up the inside, or the outside, I should say, of Mozzie. Mozzie's getting the move back. Little bit of swaying action there from Brocky. He was off early. We saw that. Wow, it's all happening in lap 1. Oh, Mozzie up the inside, pushing Snipes wide. He's backed out of it, letting Snipes have this position back, but it's also giving Snipes a chance to get past. Is that... No. Okay, he hasn't quite made it done, but there we go. Wow, Corner Sluts dropped back into last place. As we jump back to our race leader, Madrick in first, comfortably out there. Bit of clean air, and look at the gap he's pulling away from Wile E. Coyote. Scuba and Zappo not too far behind. As we continue down the grid, Gary in 5th, followed by SRT Vroom in the Porsche. And then we've got Osto up into 7th. He qualified in 9th, so he's made his way up through a few positions off the start. Mayhem. What a fantastic race this has turned out to be, and it's only lap 1. Okay, Corner Slut in 8th. That false start has cost him. He's going to have to work real hard to get it back. But that Jaguar is a bloody good car. So, let's see what he can do in the next couple of laps as he's sends it up the inside of Osto. Not quite enough room to get there. Osto's managed to cover. No one's gone sideways. Oh, another touch there again between the pair as these guys are really driving hard and fast early. Wow, this is exciting. Oh, as we see another car off to the side. That looks like Wile E. Coyote. Yes, it is. The Ferrari. Getting a little bit too much of the grass on the way in, sending himself sideways. Now he's lost the position to Flacker and Mozzie. They've gone past him, so he's going to have to drive that Ferrari hard and fast to catch them, make up for his little error that he's just made. And look who's behind him, Brocky, driving that Lamborghini hard and fast. Of course, starting from the rear of the grid with a little bit of an error in the qualifying sector there. So we've got Snipes in 12th. Back to our race leader, Madrick. Okay, it's lap 2, ladies and gentlemen. We're only almost 3.5 minutes into this race, and look at all the action already. Scuba flying around in his Ferrari at the moment. He's started on the race mediums, so he's going to want to put down some good times to start with. Remember, all the drivers must use race mediums and hards, but the tyre option is open, so the softs are available if anyone wants to do a two-stop pit and pick that other tyre compound. As we continue down through the field, we see SRT Vroom in fourth, following Zappo, NZ, flying down the back straight. Gary in that beautiful Mazda with one of the Magnet men. Here we go, there's another battle happening here. Corner Slut now under pressure from Osto. So they go through the fastest part of the track. Corner Slut's managed to make the move on Osto in that lap there. We just missed it. So he's managed to get past him. Osto trying his absolute best to stay on the back. Obviously, Osto was on the race hards. He's in contention for, we've got both Corner Slut and Mozzie on the medium. So he's going to have to drive that Aston Martin hard and fast to keep up with the pace as we continue down the grid. We've got Wile Coyote on the racing hards as well. We saw him have a little bit of an error. Might have been pushing a bit too hard, too early on those cold racing hards. We've got Flacker in 10th place, starting on the mediums. Brocky also choosing to start on the racing hards in that Lambo. So we see a couple of little bit of braking jumps there. We'll continue down. We've got Snipes there. He's got a bit of damage, so something's happened there in the background that we've missed. But he's got some damage. We'll see how long he pushes on with that, because that's going to cost him time and fuel. So we jump back now to our race leader, of course, running a purple. Absolutely flying. We've got Scuba running a purple on SRT Vroom, pretending it's a drift event. He's got that Porsche absolutely sideways. He's managed to save it, so great car control. Gary under pressure from Corner Slut. He's going to be looking to make up as much time as he can from SRT Vroom's spin as we get this beautiful corner camera angle, and we'll continue down through the field looking at all those cars having a great race. Oh, it looks like Osto's doing an outside move around the outside of Mozzie, but he hasn't quite been able to get it around there. So Mozzie having a good run there in the BMW. Osto not letting him go. Those racing hards haven't quite warmed up to temp yet, but he's sitting right under the spoiler of Mozzie in that BMW. New addition to Div 2. So this is going to be very exciting as we see Wile Coyote getting it a little bit wide across the curb there. He's going to really push that Ferrari down the straight, trying to catch up to that slipstream. We've got Flacker followed by Brocky, and then Snipes rounding out the order. Madrick across the line with the new fastest lap of the session so far with a 2:03.484. SRT Vroom now making his way across, followed by Corner Slut. He's really pushing that Jaguar, absolutely flying. Gary GC under a lot of pressure now from Zappo. Zappo right on the bumper, almost looks like he's pushing him. Are they racing NASCAR? What's going on? Hang on, no, he's looked to make the move up the inside. There was no way he was going to make it. Zappo's now jumped off the pace, and now he's under a lot of pressure from Mozzie. Mozzie looking to make the move. Not enough room to get it done there, but in the next couple of corners, if he can get a good run, he might be able to get it done. So let's go back up to the front of this battle pack. There's a train of cars. We've got Gary GC in 5th, followed by Zappo in 6th, who's under a lot of pressure by Mozzie from behind. This is getting exciting, and we're very early in the race. Okay, Mozzie, he's up the inside. They're side by side, making their way up. Mozzie, of course, now onto the outside, forced to give the corner back. But, oh, the Beamer, it gets a bit sideways. Mozzie's still backed out. Okay, maybe he's going to look to do a bit of fuel saving, sitting behind Zappo. Osto sitting there, waiting for them to make a mistake. Maybe he's going to have an opportunity to pounce. Again, we've got this beautiful camera angle, all the cars following through in a train. This is going to be really good racing, and from what we've seen so far, we've got a long race, 50 minutes, and we're only almost 7 minutes, just almost 8 minutes in. We're 7 minutes, 50 seconds right now, and wow, this has been exciting so far already. Brocky, he's had an incident. He's back into 12th now. Something's happened in the Lambo. He hasn't copped damage, but he might have gone off track. As we see the flame shooting out the Lambo, running himself a bit wide. Let's jump back to our race leader, Madrick. Leadfoot Racing. We're going to jump on board and do a lap with him as we go quiet and listen to that Nissan roar. now as we jump back to Scuba in passenger seat. He's doing the chase down right now, and it looks like on the sectors he is absolutely flying. He's just run a couple of purples sectors before that we've been told from top of the race, so let's just see how he runs the rest of this one, because he is absolutely flying. We're about to come up to a sector marker. We're going to jump back down through the field. SRT Vroom, obviously our fastest lap holder at the moment. He's under challenge from Scuba, who's absolutely flying. Corner slot now, moving that Jaguar around the field. He's managed to get past Gary GC. Now, Gary on the chase down through the main straight. Is he going to have enough slipstream to make a move? I'm not sure if he's close enough. We've got Zappo then chasing, followed by Osto. Bit of a gap. And then, wow, here we go to the fastest part of the track. Curling it through the corner. Oh no, as we go back through, we saw Mozzie behind and Wally Coyote's off into the wall. He's got himself some damage at the front, followed by Snipes, who got that damage earlier. So those two are going to have a bit of a challenging race now. It'll be interesting to see if they pit early to fix that damage, because it will chew the fuel and it's going to cost them a lot of lap time. As we see also Brocky now into the background, going wide, sending that Lambo off track. As we see Madrick now making his way around. Scuba did manage to get the fastest lap on that previous run. We called it out while we jumped on board with him that it was absolutely flying. There was a bit more action in the background that we needed to cover. So now Scuba, the fastest lap around the track. SRT Vroom running that car as quick as he can through the corner, pushing it a little bit wide, grabbing some grass. Might cost him a little bit. We'll have to wait and see where he ends up, but the cars ahead are absolutely flying in lap times in comparison. Corner slut there, his previous lap, a 2:07. He's losing time. Maybe it's because of the hards. Maybe he's on a fuel saving strategy in that Jag. We'll have to wait and see. Once we get to the pit stop, where we would assume to see most of the cars probably pitting around that 25-minute mark. That's halfway through the 50-minute stint. We'll just have to wait and see. Zappo in 6, followed by Osto, Mozzie. Followed by Mozzie. Mozzie's got the corner on Osto. All right. Battle's going on here. Mozzie's jumped Osto in the corner. Osto's holding on to it around the outside. Can't quite get there. Little touch between the pair. Osto backs out of it, knowing that he doesn't want to ruin his race right now. They're going to have to keep fighting. Osto's going to sit in that slipstream for Mozzie. Maybe do a little bit of fuel saving, because he's on the hards. Mozzie's on the mediums. Mozzie's managed to get it done with a little bit more grip through the corner there. So maybe Osto can save a little bit of fuel in that Aston Martin. We'll have to wait and see where they all end up pitting. Almost looked like Osto was going to make the move up the inside, but not enough speed there to do that. Absolutely not. Mozzie now, hard on the brakes, turning in. Holds it into second and then down to first for the chicane. Osto right behind him. Things are firing up here. We're at lap 6. We've got Snipes in 9th place. He's got his windscreen wipers on. Maybe there's a bit of dew out on the track as the sun is setting now. Oh, as we see Flacker get it all crossed up, all wrong, off into the green. Oh, and he's spun the Nissan. Oh, no, that's not ideal. Okay, Brocky's closing in from behind. He's going to really want to get that Nissan moving so he doesn't lose another position to Brocky. Brocky coming through in that Lambo with a Chazzy Mostert inspired livery. Absolutely flying with that car now. Across the line with a 2:04 on the race mediums. Now we've got Wally Coyote. He's already done a pit and he's swapped onto the racing softs. Okay, well there we go. Well, hang on, did he do a pit or did he start on it? That's an interesting. I didn't see him in the pits, but we could have missed it. Madrick out in front now with half-second penalty. He's pushed the limits a little bit too far somewhere. That's going to put him under fire from Scuba just behind in the Ferrari. Remember, he's got the fastest lap at the moment, so if he continues that pace, Madrick might be in some trouble here for the race lead early on. Scuba flying down the main straight, chasing him down on a purple again. Here we go. He might set a new fastest lap as he chases down our race leader, Madrick, for Leadfoot Racing in that Nissan. We continue down the grid. We've got SRT Vroom pushing that Porsche to its absolute limits. We've seen him a couple of times a little bit sideways. Corner slot now in that Jag. having a great run at the moment. Hardly anywhere on those race hards. He's got just under half a tank of fuel. It's all going to become important once we see the pits. Gary GC got a bit more fuel than him. His tyre wear's about the same. He's in 5th, but he's followed very closely there by, I believe it's Zappo behind him. Yes, it is. Okay, he's across the line with a 2:08. Not the best time for him on the medium, so he's been under fire at some point throughout that race. That lap, I should say. So, Zappo and Mozzie coming hard into the brakes. Mozzie getting the inside line, getting the dive up the inside of Zappo. What a move. Okay, Mozzie's now out in front of Zappo and he's chasing down Gary. He's on the race mediums as well. Look at his fuel though. He's really burning through it. He's about the same level as Osto. So these guys are really running hard and fast early. Continue down through the field. Snipes. He's got a bit more fuel, but he does have the damage, so it will chew it down. As the laps continue, I'm surprised he hasn't pitted yet. But he's sticking to his strategies. We see Flacker now under a lot of pressure from Brocky. Brocky looking for an opportunity to pass. Not finding one yet. Putting that Lambo left and right. He'd be all in his mirrors. Waiting for Flacker to make a mistake. Brocky's really applying the pressure on the back of that Nissan. We'll have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen, if he can actually make the move here. He's right on the back of him. Oh, there we go as Flacker runs it just a little bit wide. I'm not sure if we saw any contact there. I think he might have just run it a bit wide on his own. It'd have to be under a much more tighter view to see if there was any contact there. It was very close as we continue down through the field. Now we've got Mozzie, Wile Coyote running a purple sector in last place at the moment. But remember, he is one of the early changes onto the softs with a low tank of fuel. So we'll wait and see where this race goes. As he jump back to our race leader, Madrick out in first with a bit of breathing room over the top of Scuba now. Scuba in second. He's got rear damage. Something's happened in the background. We've missed it, but he's got rear damage. So he might be fast down the straight, but he won't be able to pull up quick. As we see Osto looking like he's coming into the pits very early, so his strategy might have just gone out the window and he's trying something different on the fly. SRT Vroom in third. Corner Slut in fourth place. We've got Mozzie in fifth in the Beamer. Absolutely pushing that Red Bull livery to its limit. Gary in sixth, followed very closely by Zappo. Snipes in eighth. We just mentioned Osto was into the pits real early. He's gathering fuel now. Brocky passed him on the main straight. And Flacker as well, not too far behind. Right, that's Osto out of the pits, so he's swapped from the hards to the mediums. Is he going to have enough fuel to finish this race, or is he going to have to apply a two-stop? I think he's come in just a little bit too early, so we'll just have to wait and see what his strategy is. Maybe he's going to swap to the softs later, as we see Wile Coyote into the pits now quite early. He's still had a bit of fuel. He's just changing off those swaps, obviously, to use the mandatory tyres. And Madrick well out in front, lighting up those disc brakes into the last couple of corners as he finishes lap 9 now. We're just over 18 minutes into this 50-minute enduro event. Madrick out in front with a comfortable lead over the top of Scuba, who's just making his way across the line now. Scuba has been our fastest driver so far with a 2:03.016 during the race. Obviously, we did see some faster times through qualifying, but in qualifying, all the drivers were using racing softs. So it's a fantastic time on the mediums for him. Absolutely flying. SRT Vroom there in third, making his way around turn 2 and 3. Corner Slut in fourth. Having a pretty good run in that Jag at the moment. We see his fuel on the race hards. Wait and see where he ends up
at the end of it. Obviously, starting on the hards early was the strategy for most drivers. What they said was probably going to be ideal because the track was a bit warmer at sunset. As the sun continues to go down, the track is getting colder and colder, so getting that heat into the tyres earlier makes the race hards a little bit easier to use, as we're there now looking at Gary in 6th place, followed closely by Zappo. Track definitely darkening now as we see those headlights really illuminating the field. We've got Snipes racing around a couple of corners here with his wipers still on. So maybe there's something stuck on his windscreen, or maybe there's an electrical fault. Maybe they should call So What to get that fixed. And look, there's Snipes absolutely flying in that Aston. He's still got the damage, so he's decided to persevere on and stick with his race strategy of when they were going to box. And unfortunately, he is losing a lot of time. You see Brocky now really closing that distance to Snipes ahead. Running his personal best so far. You see that green time popping up. Osto not too far behind. As we see Scuba in 2nd place now hitting the pits. Wile E. Coyote making his way around in the Ferrari, and then we've got Flacker rounding out the order at the moment. We'll jump back to our race leader, who's right behind him. Hasn't lapped him yet, but he's right there. The fuel is slowly dwindling away, so will we see any fuel save from Madrick, or is he going to keep powering through as we approach the halftime mark? We see Gary going past Scuba in the pits, Zappa also. Mad Mower Racing BMW absolutely flying, trying to keep up with Gary GC. He wants to stay in that slipstream as much as he can. Try and save a bit of fuel if possible, as it is looking quite low, but not as low as Mozzie in the BMW behind. Sorry, up in 3rd. So we jumped up. So Mozzie used a lot more fuel than Zappo, the Beamers. They should be about the same, but we can see that Zappo's managed to save a lot more fuel than Mozzie. Gary sitting between them at the moment. As we continue down the grid, we've got Scuba in the Ferrari, who's managed to save a monumental amount of fuel. I'd almost question if we missed a pit stop there from him with how much fuel he has. Continue down, we've got Brocky in 7th place. Had a bit of an off early in the race. A couple of moments where he's run it wide, but he's up in his 7th, having a good race. Osto chasing him down. He's now swapped off the hards onto the mediums. Wile E. Coyote there, just under half a tank of fuel in 9th. So, positions are going to really start to play out as we get to the tail end of this race. There's going to be a few drivers on a 2-stop, quite a few drivers on a 1-stop. So, we'll have to wait to see. We've got Flacker in 10th place, chasing them down, followed by Snipes in 11th now, rounding out our grid. We jump back to Madrick, who's just ahead of him. Running on almost fumes. He's going to finish this lap and need to come in for sure. He's on the race mediums, having a good stint so far. Corner slide also going. We've got Mozzie in 3rd, coming in with 1% fuel. Gary's gone past him now through pit lane. Zappo's also into the pits just behind him. So we'll see Mozzie approach his team here. They're going to want to do a very quick pit stop. They want to rip those tyres off and get that fuel in. It's a very slow refuel rate, so they want to spend as least amount of time as possible in pit lane. Same with Zappo, so the 2 BMWs into the pits as we continue down through the field. Mozzie now making his way around the last couple of corners. Okay, Mozzie's going to make his way past the 2 BMWs in the pits. That'll take him up to 5th place. He's still got just over a quarter of a tank, so it'll be a while before we see him into the pits. But once that happens, with that refuel rate, we might see those cars jump him again as we continue down through the field. Osto, he's going to come around the final corner in pit lane, but he's not quite going to jump him in the pits. Okay, so he's going to be right behind Zappo and Mozzie. Obviously, he did pit a little earlier than the rest. We've got Zappo and Mozzie there, the two Beamers, right behind each other. They've come out the pits almost at the same time. Osto chasing him down. Wile E. Coyote now across the line, starting lap 12. Flacker in 10th place. He's having a good run. We've got Snipes in 11th. And Madrick, our race leader, now entering the pits. Of course, their team going to be absolutely flat out trying to get him out as soon as possible. He's well out in front for the race lead. They're going to want to maintain that as much as they can. He's pushed that car right to the limit, coming in with 1% fuel. So he's had a great race on the race mediums there. Not a lot of wear across it. So very smooth and consistent driving. As we jump back to second place, Mr. Cornerslut, he's also jumping into the pits on the racing hards. So he will then swap to the mediums. We'd expect to see Madrick swap to the hards. And, well, let's go racing. Alright, as Gary GC now takes the lead. Obviously having a little bit more fuel in that Mazda. He's managed to stay out in front. You jump on board with him. He's only going to get one more lap. And then he's going to have to do the same as we see Madrick now with 100% fuel making his way out. He's going to come out. Oh, I thought he was going to come out behind Scuba, but he's managed to just pip him before it. And Scuba's made the pass. Okay, as we stay with Gary there for a second through the commentary, we can just see it on the left-hand side through the leaderboard. They must have come out side by side into turn one. Gary absolutely pushing as much as he can, trying to get a decent time as we jump on board with Gary. He's on a personal best. He's absolutely driving the wheels off this Mazda, I should say Mazda. And he's really driving hard and fast because he knows that he needs to make up some time. As we jump back down through the grid, we can see Scuba. We're on board in the Ferrari. We've got the little rear view video link just to the right of his right hand there. And guess who's there? That's right, it is Madrick chasing him down. He's come out just behind him from the pits. He's got a full tank of fuel. He's on the race hards. Let's see how long he goes before he pits again. Brocky in 4th place, making his way around the corner. The Lambo's made up a lot of ground. He had a bit of a rough start. We saw him off into the weeds, and now he's up into 4th. Obviously, he will need to pit as we continue down through the field. We've got Mr. Cornerslut. He's just pit. He's swapped onto the race mediums. He's having a good race. He's up into 5th. He's followed by Mozzie as we see our race leader now hitting the pits with 1% fuel. Really pushed that Mazda all the way to the limit to get there. We're on board now with Zappo in the Beamer for Mad Mower Racing. And we jump back now down to Osto. So these guys are all relatively close, kind of spaced out in a sort of even way as we see Scuba taking the race lead. Here's Gary in the pits now. So the team for the Magnet Men swapping out those tyres, getting ready to swap out the tyres, and we've got a bit of fuel coming on board. Madrick now into the pits. Oh, hang on a second. Madrick only just swapped onto the hard, so he's in the pits again. He's taken on 3 litres of fuel, so he's managed to jump Gary in the pits. What's he? Oh, he's swapped onto the softs. So he's done 1 laps on the hards, come in, swap to the softs. Is he going to have enough fuel to get to the end? I think he will. He did 25 laps, but are the racing softs going to be the right call to get all the way to the end? He's in 5th place. He's got a bit of work to do to get to 1st. Wow, what a strategy from Leadfoot Racing. This is going to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. As we continue down the grid, we've got Zappo on the race hards. He's going to be hard pressed to catch up to Madrick now. We've got Gary just behind him in the Mazda. So Madrick managed to jump him in the pits there. And he's done 2 stops already, Madrick. So, wow, what a call from the team. Osto there in 8th place. Looking possibly a little bit shy on fuel. We'll have to wait and see how much fuel saving you can do. We've got Wile E. Coyote there in 9th, just barely running that Ferrari a bit wide. And Flacker coming around, blowing up the disc brakes, pushing that Nissan to its limit. We've got Snipes there, rounding out the order at the moment in the Aston Martin. Really driving hard as we jump back to our race leader as he comes around the final couple of corners on lap 14 and into the pits now. So we're going to see where the order sits. He's come in with 33% fuel, so he's had a good run. As we look there onto the right hand side, lap 11, something's gone wrong for him. And Brocky behind him also into the pits as well, but he was on the mediums with only 3% fuel, so he's going to sit there a fair bit longer. As we see now, Mr. Cornerslut taking the race lead. We are now looking at the team there for Optus Racing taking those wheels off. Mr. Cornerslut out in front now, that Jag absolutely flying. He's been on a very good strategy as from what we can see at the moment. He's barely got any worn on the race mediums. He's got plenty of fuel. He'll make it to the end quite comfortably. So if he can hold that position, he's looking at a very, very impressive win. Oh, here we go, as he runs a purple as well. So he's not slowing down for anyone. He's absolutely flying. Madrick's going to be having to work very hard to chase him down. Remembering he is on the race softs now, he's got a fair bit more fuel, so he might be able to put the foot down a bit harder. We'll have to wait and see where he finishes up. Mozzie trying to chase him down on those race mediums in the BMW. Oh, as he gets a little bit of grass on the right-hand side. You see the dirt go flying up. That's going to cost him a couple of tenths. As we get ready for a hard braking zone round the corner, we'll watch those discs light up. Oh, as we see Mozzie run it wide and those discs really start to glow. Okay, as we continue through the corner, we got Zappo in 4th, Osto in 5th, followed by Scuba. Then we've got Gary GC, followed by Wile E. Coyote. Right, it's all happening. So there's still a few cars there having a bit of a battle. Wile E. Coyote running very low on the fuel, and he's on the racing soft, so he will still need to swap, because I think we've only seen him pit once. As we jump back to the front of that little train there, we've got Zappo followed by Osto in the Aston Martin. Then we've got Scuba in the Ferrari chasing him down on the racing softs. So Osto now on the medium, Scuba on the softs. He's going to be looking to push hard to catch up to Osto and make that move. As we continue down through the grid, we've got Gary. He's on the racing hard, so he needs to stay in that slipstream behind Scuba as much as he can. Try and making up some ground. As we see Wile E. Coyote, they're running very low on fuel, and those softs are quite worn, so be very, very surprised if we don't see him into the pits on this lap. There he is, into the pits, 5% fuel. Brocky, not too far behind, he's just pit again. He's on softs, and he's got almost a full tank of fuel. We're 32 minutes into the 50-minute enduro now, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting towards the tail end of this as we continue down through our grid. We've got Snipes rounding out the order just behind Flacker. Mr. Cornerslut well out in front now in that Jag. Very good strategy to put himself up into the lead. Madrick not too far behind, but he's copped himself another half-second penalty. We saw one earlier in the race. He is on the racing softs now, so he's going to be pushing quite hard and fast. Might have been pushing a bit too hard as we see him run purple by 300th of a second. That 500th of a second penalty is going to cost him, but we should see him relatively close to the fastest lap regardless, because obviously only 200th in it with between the penalty, but you will lose a bit more time as we continue down through the grid. Mozzie in 3rd place in the Beamer, having a fantastic opening round for himself. It's his first race here with SSR. Having a great drive as we continue down the grid. We've got Scuba in 4th place in the Ferrari, followed closely by Zappo by Mad Mower Motorsport. Osto 101, not too far behind him. Having a good run with Ned Racing at the moment. Of course, he is injured. He's got torn tendons in his shoulder. Decided to race anyway. So Zappo out in front on the racing hards. Osto behind on the racing mediums. Zappo's got slightly more fuel than Osto, so we'll have to wait and see if Osto can save any before we get to the end. Gary GC, plenty of fuel before the end of this race. He might be able to jump on both if they don't strategically save a bit of fuel. He's not too far to be away from striking distance. We'll wait and see how that all unfolds. So we continue down the grid, the Lambo spewing flames out in the last couple of corners. Plenty of fuel for himself, he'll make it to the end. He's on the racing softs now, so he's going to be pushing hard and fast, trying to make up some ground for his earlier mistakes. We've got Mozzie, Wile E. Coyote, absolutely flying in that Ferrari down the back straight. Move back down through the field. We've got Flacker there in 10th. And Snipes 11th. Making his way around. We've got Mr. Corner Slut out in front now, but the gap is closing. Madrick gaining. Corner Slut really pushing, trying to keep that Jaguar out in front. We're at 35 minutes, so 15 minutes remaining. Nice tidy line there from the Jag as he goes down to the back straight, but we can see the headlights looming in the background as he absolutely sends it down the back straight. Madrick chasing him down with everything he's got. Running himself a purple once again, just like that before, but no penalty this time. So we might see a new fastest lap here from Madrick. As we see the flame shooting out sideways from that Nissan. Really pushing that car. Keeping it neat and tidy. And across the line, not quite there. Close, but not there. Okay, so we continue down the grid. Mozzie in 3rd place. About a second slower than Madrick's lap. Scuba now making his way across the line with a new fastest lap of a 2:02.467. So Scuba is absolutely flying, trying to catch up to the back of Mozzie. He's really pushing that Ferrari. All right, Zappo in 5th, followed very closely there by Osto. These two are on for a bit of a battle, racing hards versus mediums. But they're both going to need to save fuel. They don't quite have enough to get to the end. I think about now, you'd almost want about half a tank. This is going to be very interesting. We jump on board with Osto, chasing down Zappo. We listen to that V12 engine from the Aston Martin. Back of him, I think he might even be doing some fuel saving, as we saw a bit of short shifting going on sitting in that slipstream. Zappo trying to run away. Osto not going anywhere. Gary GC waiting for his moment to pounce on the racing hards. A lot more fuel though, so it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Fastest part of the track there, the Mazda really taking it well. We jump back to Brocky in 8th. The Lambo cruising around. So a little bit of a slide. Oh, as we see Zappo up ahead now into the pits, 31% fuel. Didn't need to really pit that early, but he's gone in. So that's going to ruin Osto's fuel saving behind him. So let's wait and see what happens between the pair, whether they're both going to need to grab some fuel. Zappo should be grabbing some now, but I don't see that number going up. So we go down through the grid. We've got Flacker in 10th. Snipes in 11th. Back to our race leader, who's now under pressure. Madrick's made up the ground there on the racing softs behind him. He's really pushing. Okay, game on. We're very close to only having 10 minutes remaining. Madrick really trying his best to chase down Corner Slut. He's on the racing softs. He's got just over half a tank. That's enough to get him to the end. Absolutely. Corner Slut slightly under. He might need to do a bit of fuel saving. We'll have to wait and see. But here we go. Mediums versus softs. The Jag versus the Nissan. Down the back straight. Madrick in the slipstream. Winding him in ever so slowly. Slight touch of the brakes there from Madrick into the corner. Pushing it hard. Corner Slut lighting up those disc brakes. We saw them glowing through the corners as we start to get darker and darker as the sun sets. Corner Slut across the line, starting lap 20 in first. Madrick right behind him. This is going to be a very, very tight race towards the end. Only 10 minutes remaining. Continue down through the field. Mozzie up into third in the Beamer. Very short on fuel. I can't see him making it to the end without another pit stop. So this is getting interesting. That's going to put Scuba all over the back of him. So we see Scuba's definitely got enough fuel there to make his way across the finish line. Huge thanks again to So What Electrical for providing us with the telemetry for this match. A lot more information there to call out for everyone. So we jump back down now to Osto in 5th. He's made his way up through the grid a little bit, but also looking quite light on the fuel. We jump on board ever so briefly there with Osto. It's going to be very, very interesting to see if he can make this or if he's going to need to do another stop. Up into 5th. If he had saved maybe a little bit more fuel or maybe pitted a bit later, might have seen him hold this position, but I just don't believe that we're going to see him make it to the end on just under a quarter a tank of fuel. We've still got 8 minutes remaining. That's going to be at least 4 or 5 laps. As we jump on board with Gary. He's been waiting this whole time for the two ahead to run out of fuel and jump him. Obviously, we saw Zappo hit the pits. Rocky managed to make the move up the inside of Gary through that corner there. Didn't really look like it on the coverage, but he did make it. Good dive. Not so much a dive, it's just a fantastic move. Gary had to succeed the move there. The Lambo absolutely flying. Gary being on the racing harness just didn't have the grip through the corner. So we might even see Brocky take Osto. It's getting interesting. Hard and fast through the fastest part of the circuit. Hard on the brakes. And we go back down through the field. Zappo pitting before, but he didn't take on a lot of fuel. It's going to be interesting to see if he makes it as well. Probably should have taken on a little bit more fuel, but I think the anxiety got the better of him in that pit stop, waiting too long as he saw the cars going past. We'll have to wait and see where that winds him up at the end of this race. Wile E. Coyote in 9th place, sending the Ferrari down the back straight. Absolutely flying. Go back to Snipes there. Looks like a bit of a slow run out of the corner. And Flacker in 11th, followed very closely there by our race leader, Madrick, who's made the move. He's lapped him. And around we go. Corner Slut's right with him. So these two are having a fantastic race at the moment. Whoa, Corner Slut getting it a little bit crossed up into the corner. He's going to lose a bit of time chasing on the back of Madrick there. So he's just lost out in that corner a little bit of time. It'll be interesting to see if he can still stay in the slipstream from back where he is. trying to catch that back up down the main straight. Continue down through our field. We've got Mozzie in the Beamer. He's in third. He's definitely going to need to pit again. Scuba in fifth. He's got enough fuel to get to the end. And we've got Brocky there in fifth, followed by Osto. Oh, based on that fuel, he's definitely going to need to pit as well. So he's not going to manage to maintain that position. Brocky having a great run in the Lambo. We did see, as we mentioned before, him go off early in the race. So a good recovery run for himself to be up in fifth. Osto is going to be in all sorts of trouble now from Gary. Probably likely to see him pit this lap. Gary's very comfortably going to get to the end. Hardly anywhere on those racing hards and plenty of fuel to get himself there. As we go down through the grid, you can see, yeah, there we go. Osto into the pits, 8% fuel. He's only going to need to put maybe an extra lap or two into it, I think, to finish, but he's going to have to drive that car hard and fast not to lose too many positions. Zappo across the line. Whoa, Zappo's down into the red too. Is he going to have enough fuel? He's only got about as much as Osto. Okay, this is getting interesting. So Zappo definitely didn't take on enough fuel. Could be a good race between the two of them for 7th place. Osto now onto the softs. So we'll wait and see how this unfolds, ladies and gentlemen. But it looks like Zappo might need to pit. We'll have to wait and see. Wally Coyote across the line. Snipes making his way around the last couple of corners, onto the main straight. And Flacker in 11th, rounding out our order. Madrick just in front of them both. Having a good run down that back straight, followed by Corner Slut as well. These guys have been really pushing the cars to their limit the last couple of laps. You see Madrick, of course, with the fastest lap time at the moment with a 201.865. Absolutely got that Nissan flying around this track. Oh, as we see Snipes off into the wall and just reset there. Okay, interesting. Might have locked it up. Mozzie now under big fire from Scuba, but Mozzie's into the pits. Not enough fuel to do the extra lap. Or two. Okay, so he's only on 2%. Scuba now takes 3rd place in the Ferrari. So we jump down to 5th place. Brocky, he's going to possibly get past as well. As we see Mozzie in the pits. Team there, the Red Bull entry for BMW. Ripping those tyres off and putting on a bit of fuel. Ooh, he might have put on a bit too much. We'll wait and see. That's going to put him back into 4th. And it looks like, yeah, no, he's lost that position to Brocky. Okay, so Brocky's managed to jump him over the pits. Oh, as we see in the background, yes, Zappo has had to come in again. Okay, so Gary in 6th place in the Mazda. Not only did he jump Zappo and Osto because they ran out of fuel, but they've both had to pit again. Okay, so Zappo didn't quite put enough fuel in last time. He's just going to do a splash and dash and see if he can keep up and catch up to Osto. Race on. So Osto's managed to get past Zappo. Didn't quite put enough fuel in last time at Mammo Motorsport. Osto out in front. He's quite low on the fuel. And here we go. As we continue down through the grid, we've got Wily Coyote in 9th, Snipes in 10th. He's got a bit of front end damage and front left tyre damage as well. Then we've got Flacker in 11th, so Flacker's going to be gunning him down. He doesn't have damage. He's going to be absolutely flying in that slipstream behind him. All right, so the race is on. Flacker's on the racing hards, looking to make a move on Snipes, who has racing damage. There's a yellow flag up ahead. As we see, I think it's 3rd place there. Scuba having a bit of an incident. He's managed to put the car straight again. We'll have to wait and see if he's got himself any damage. As we go back to our race leader, Mr. Corner Slut, out in front at the moment. Very low on the race fuel. He might be able to make it to the end. We'll have to wait and see. Madrick, he's copped himself some damage too, so he's had an incident. Oh no. That's not ideal. He's had a great race so far, and he was chasing him down. Now we've got Scuba in third. He hasn't copped any damage. That's fantastic. But we did see he had a bit of an incident just before. Brocky in fourth. Mozzie in fifth. We see Gary now making his way across the line. Having a fantastic run with a 2:05 is his personal best. It's his fastest lap he's done so far. Low fuel, and he was on racing hard, so faster than he was on racing mediums. So we see Osto making his way around the final couple of corners. But guess what? That's it. We've hit the 50-minute mark. He's not going to get the extra lap. So that's Osto across the line in 7th. That's confirmed. We're going to have Zappo right behind him there in 8th place in the Beamer. What a great race, boys. And we've got Wile E. Coyote coming across the line now in 9th. Snipes making his way around, followed by Flacker. And we'll jump back to our race leader, who I believe is in front of them both. Mr. Corner Slut out in front now. The fuel's getting dangerously low, starting to run on fumes, but he's got a bit of a gap now from Madrick. Madrick not being able to keep up with that damage that he's incurred. Last couple of corners here. Let's give it up for our race leader, ladies and gentlemen. Round 2, Div 2. Congratulations, Mr. Corner Slut. Well done. What a race. We jump back. Oh, as we see, there's another racing incident happening here. Something's happened. 2 cars that just sort of respawned on the back of the track there. Obviously, Magic and Scuba might have had something happen between them. We've missed it all. A little bit of damage on Scuba. Obviously, Magic already had the damage, so Magic second, Scuba third. Brock now making his way around the final corner. Very low fuel in that Lambo, but what a run, what a recovery drive. Up into 4th, well done. Mozzie, first time entry into SSR. He gets 5th. Gary now making his way across the line. What a great drive, almost running out of fuel, right on the fumes, timed it perfectly. Osto 7th, Zappo 8th, and we saw the rest. So thank you very, very, very much. It's been a fantastic time commentating for you. Hope you enjoyed it, and I really look forward to seeing you next time.